Gary, just looking back through COVID up until now, Google changes all the time. Just talk us through some of the algorithm updates you've seen.
The algorithm updates that occurred during COVID were, actually, they were kind of shocking in a way, because while businesses were struggling to stay afloat, we kind of saw Google ramp up their changes in their algorithm at the same time when people were just like, we're just trying to survive here. What are you doing to us? And so they've become more public in announcing, hey, we have a core algorithm update rolling out. And essentially their recommendations are the same every single time. So it comes down to some of these best practices that we know are important for SEO. And it's not like, hey, you need to stop doing this one specific tactic or that one specific tactic. So it really was like not a precise algorithm update in particular, but more just Google made a lot of changes. They've increased the frequency of those changes. And I think the signal to me as a marketer is expect more of this. Google is going more real time in how they're refining things. There also at the same time is a lot of scrutiny from a legal standpoint of how Google search operates, how their search results, impact like fair competition and all that type of stuff. And so their algorithm updates factor into those things as well. And so as long as that's still on the table, we can expect Google to continue to make changes. I think there were a couple really important updates that happened in 2020 and then also this year and more recently that I think are worth mentioning. First is something called passage indexing. And that's basically like Google is not just looking at the page as a whole, but they're really dissecting these long pages down. So think about your practice area pages or some of your blog posts or resources. It's not just like the title of the page and kind of what that page is about, but they're looking at the different sections, the different paragraphs within it to see how can they extract a piece of information that's buried maybe at the bottom of the page and surface that to people who are searching some of these very specific questions that are very granular and very detail oriented. Because that's how people search these days. So that was something that rolled out last year that I think was really interesting. And it didn't present a major change to our strategy, but it just reinforced the fact that like, if you have a long piece of content, if you have a long practice area page with a lot of questions on it and maybe some FAQs at the bottom and things like that, that help your potential clients understand how you work, how the process works, what they should be doing next. We should be looking at optimizing every micro piece, every section on that page to make sure that Google understands what it is and how to find it. So I think that was really, really important. And then the most recent update is the page experience update, which essentially is a big user experience focused update where Google's combining signals related to page speed, load times, usability on mobile devices, security, and advertising. And that's more for like publishers and things like that. But really focusing on user experience. And that was a big update that rolled out a little bit earlier in the summer. And it's just another reinforcement of Google's commitment to, we are putting the user first. You need to do things that are focused mainly around your users. And if you do that, your visibility in Google should follow that. So those are two of the big updates that I think were really interesting over the past year and a half. I think that there was one thing I was going to touch on. What was it? I think I lost it. That's it.